Well, hey folks, welcome to the last episode of the 2020 Galaxywide Songwriters Workshop. It is quite a doozy. I hope that you'll enjoy it. Thank you for tuning in every week. Hope that you're staying safe, taking care of yourself, taking care of your family. We have the great Anders Osborne on the episode today for the final interview, along with a performance by myself and my son. But to start things off, playing Bart Howard's own piano, ladies and gentlemen, the great KT Sullivan.
Crazy world, full of crazy contradictions, like a child. First you drive me Now I'd like to sing. Actually, I'll bring a guest star up because I'm singing with my husband, Steve Downey. He's making his debut with Theater for a New City. It's true, every year we have this big benefit too at the National Arts Club for Theater for a New City, Valentine Banquet. But I thought this song, I learned a few songs when I married my husband, Steve, because he came from a singing family in New Haven. So they knew all these songs I didn't know. This one is music by Roland Lobb and lyrics by George Whiting, written in 1921, the first year of Prohibition. So there's a lot of things we have in common, and during this time we have now in quarantine, lockdown, this sheltering in place. We feel nostalgic for those times when we get together in small places, a lot of people in small places. We miss these things, just as they missed them during Prohibition. And the subtitle for this fun song, I like it a lot, is Mock Ballad. And now, making his Theater for a New City debut, Steve Downey. Come over here, darling. Here he is. Here we are performing in our apartment on the 40th floor. This is Steve Downey. Hello, sweetheart.
Takes
Share
me
with
back.
us.
Takes me
Share
back.
with us, darling, the nostalgia of this lovely old piece from 1921.
I've been looking through the dictionary for a word that's always running through my mind.
Right through my mind.
Though I love the name of brother, I was searching for another, and I must confess that word I could not find.
I could not find.
Could it be that all its glories are forgotten, and it's buried with the language of the
The
Greeks?
ancient Greeks.
If it is, 'twill ever linger in my memory as the first word that I heard my daddy speak.
My daddy speak.
Saloon, saloon, saloon. It runs through my head like a tune. I don't like cafe and I hate cabaret, but just mention saloon and my cares fade away, for it brings back a fond recollection of a little old low-ceilinged room with a bar and a rail and a foamy deck pail.
Saloon,
Saloon, saloon.
Second verse.
I can picture swinging doors wide open. I can almost see the sawdust on the floor.
Right on the floor.
I can picture pals and cronies with their highballs, steins, and ponies. I can see the name of Arrett on the door.
Right on the door.
The free lunch counter now is but a memory that is vanished with the joys we used to know.
We used to know.
Never more to hear that old familiar party. Just one drink, boys. One more song before we part.
Before we part. Saloon,
Saloon, saloon. Have you been forgotten so soon? You're nestled so sweet on that little side street, so respected, protected by cops on the beat. Since you're gone, all the world seems in darkness, like a cloud drifting over the moon. No more joy to my life, no more lies to my wife. Saloon,
Saloon, Thank you, darling. Isn't that a classic? I'm so glad we learned that one. Well, I'm learning it. Thank you, dear. Now, I want to share another poem inspired by this time, these surreal times we're going through. My mother, on March 27th, wrote this. By the way, my mother lives in Norman, Oklahoma. She wishes she could be here, but she's sheltered in place and being protected. And every night we go out here on our balcony and cheer our healthcare workers here in New York City. But she has people protecting her in New York, and she's quite grateful. And she remembers staying up here on the 40th floor with me and wishes she could be here. For her concert was scheduled on May 29th, to be her 90th birthday celebration at Carnegie Recital Hall. It's just been rescheduled for June 1st, 2021. We're hoping. This is what she wrote in March, on March 27th. Spring awakes, and I am waking too. Walking into my garden, I'm surrounded by a disarmingly bright and beautiful day. Rays of the sun lure blossoms from tenacious, encompassing growth. Only the sounds of gentle breeze can rustle and the singing of birds can be heard. But there is a strangeness in this calm, a kind of surreal eeriness that engulfs me here in this familiar place. The street is empty. My neighbors stay within their walls, safe from the coming onslaught of the deadly coronavirus, the one that must touch its victims in order to replicate and thrive. Given a name, but still unseen by the naked eye, it is the mighty enemy who has moved around the world to where I am. Being old and vulnerable, I'm told to stay 6 feet away from another person. While heroes put their lives in danger to save me, I must simply try to stay well and unexposed. I can only watch and be full of gratitude for the sacrifices they are making. 6 feet away, yet closer than we've ever been before.
All right, well, welcome to the last episode of the Galaxywide Songwriters Workshop, sponsored and funded by the Bart Howard Foundation and the Education Department of ASCAP. And I'm really excited that our guest this week, my final guest, is one of my mentors, one of my heroes, one of my dear friends. He's in New Orleans, Mr. Anders Osborne.
Hey, Mike.
How are you, buddy? You look great.
Thank you. I feel pretty darn good.
Yeah, you're looking good. I saw you hiding out in the wilderness yesterday for your island stream. How did that go?
Oh, it's good, man. I was on a desert island I was deserted. They came and saved me this morning. I feel much better.
It was wonderful. That's great. So just a little brief, you're in New Orleans, you're with your family, and of course you're not working like the rest of us, not in the normal sense.
Yeah, correct.
We're finding new ways to work.
Mm-hmm.
Especially for us, no offense, but we're a little bit older. We kind of missed the whole YouTube boat, and now we're kind of diving into it. You're doing really quite well with it. If you want to tell everybody, you do like a Friday live stream every week, correct?
Every other week, I do 6:30 Central Time from this room right here. I just flip the camera the other way.
Yeah.
Set up some mics, and we live stream. I think it's only Facebook as a platform right now, but it's been wonderful. I kind of held off a little bit in the beginning. A lot of my colleagues rushed towards it and just live streamed right away, and I didn't think it was going to work for me. But then after maybe 3 weeks, I said, well, I got to do something, and there's no money coming in, and let me see what happens. And I got to tell you, it's created a really intimate and personal relationship with my fans that I always thought we had, but I didn't realize how deep it ran. We are talking, I'm talking to them, they talk back. I thank them for their contribution. I have now I have thousands of email addresses where we actually communicate. It's almost weird, but it's heartwarming. It's heartwarming. Yeah.
It is. It's great. It certainly takes a little getting used to, but I agree. You get to, they're there right there with you. There's really, I always feel like there's nowhere to hide. If I'm on stage under the lights and the microphone, I can step off the mic and cough or fart or do something. Not on the camera.
No, you're right there, but I think you kind of included. I asked my family to support me in the beginning, like, can you be here? I'm nervous. And so they're sitting in the room with me. Now my daughter's not living with us anymore. She's in college, so she's where she's supposed to start here. But they're tuning in. She tuned in with her boyfriend, and she's like, I don't know. It's been really fascinating to watch this new experience and how uplifting it's been. I was tired of touring, and now I look forward to these things.
Yeah, that's great. I know you do. That's great. So let's weave in here. We're talking about songwriting. Yeah, we've been discussing different. Every episode seems to bring out something new, and really. Of course, there's performance when we're doing these live streams, but I feel like you're really getting a chance to convey the songs. You're finding out maybe even more so than ever what songs are favorites. Maybe you find out that fans like songs, that they like this song that maybe you didn't know was one of their favorite songs. Are you finding are you like having like a new relationship with the songs again?
Well, I had toured solo the last 3 years pretty hard, maybe 4 years, and alternated. So I think I had developed a pretty good grasp of what we all liked. What I have developed is, or gotten to know is, let me see how I can phrase it, is to trust in the song. And if I don't trust the song, I can't do any antics. I can't fake it when you live stream, right? Live, you can be very loud, or you can just hammer away, and in the intensity of something, you can go a little punky with it, and it can be really exciting anyway. I could do that to a certain extent, but I think I have to trust the song, and I have to lean into the song. And that's been really, really, I don't know. I've learned a lot.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. Let's talk about that. We've talked about writing about your own experiences, but trusting the song, because you're generally the performer of your songs. Not all the time. You have written for many other artists.
Yeah.
But you're speaking from a performance aspect, to trust the song, which means what does it take for you to trust the song?
There's got to be, let's say it's my own song, which is the majority of the things I perform. I have to have paid attention to the detail of every single line. So it doesn't mean that it has to be deep. It can be very, very simple, joyous, or even sad, angry songs. They don't have to be profound lyrically. I think sometimes that's, I don't know, it's too much emphasis on being clever when you write.
You work against the creative process, yeah.
Yeah, you have to try, again, you got to trust the song, because the song is already more or less written. You just have to tap into things. You know, we're all talking about the same topics.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It's hardship. We're poor, we got the blues, or brokenhearted, or we're in love, or, I mean, the topics are all the same.
Sure.
I grew up in an urban environment, and therefore I am heartbroken this way. I am a rural and blah, 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 and it's all the same. So you have to find this intimate relationship with who you are. Who are you? Not who do you want to pretend to be for 3.5 minutes. Who are you? And then, so when I say trusting the song, I got to spend enough time and, you know, attention to the detail of the lyrics and the melody, that everything in transitions, are they natural and are they me? Can I do this? Because then it's more like surfing or skiing, if you're good at that, or riding a bike. It's like muscle memory of the song, and you don't have to work so hard. The song's doing it for you, and you just got to be you within that framework. That sounds very cerebral, but it's not. It's all soulful. It's all about being in the soulful moment.
It's very beautiful. You're right on the money. That's fantastic. I agree. I always think whenever we've been touring and we're very tired and everyone's tired and we don't know that you stayed up all night or you had a overnight flight. And then my first thought is, well, we'll just play the songs today. Just play the song. The songs will do the show for us. Yeah. Maybe we can't do all of the things we want to do physically, but we'll just perform the songs. Those usually end up being the best shows.
Yeah, and they can be. Being sick, having fever, somehow I've had many awesome gigs with like a touch of, 100 degrees, 99.8 or something, like, yeah. It can put you, but I think it's because it puts you in the moment. There's a presence when you're like that. And then there's also less thinking about it when you're really tired.
Right.
You know what I mean? Which is what I'm talking about.
Exactly. Yeah, the music's just pulling you through. You're there. So not to change the subject, but to go along with the subject. So this is, we've talked about Bart Howard. Bart Howard was great American songwriter.
Yeah.
Fly Me to the Moon. He has this quote that I thought would be really interesting to bring to you. He said, it took 20 years to write a song in 20 minutes. That changed his life. I mean, forever, and that doesn't mean he stopped writing songs. He continued to write songs, but he had that song that kind of happened, but it took 20 years to do this song in 20 minutes. Like, what does that mean to you? I mean, you've written so many songs, but that doesn't stop you from writing more songs. And I don't think that you're writing songs hoping that it's a hit song or popular, but I don't know that he was either. But your songwriting over the years, things come to you, your craft gets better. I don't know. What can you say about that?
About the quote or about the craft getting better?
Yeah, just, the quote, maybe just over time, your craft getting better, or just you've been working at this so long and then something just comes to you. And you go, well, where was that at? How did that happen so easy?
I've had, there are growth spurts that you have where you're like, all right, I think I've gotten a little better. You don't see it as it happens. But one fairly monumental change, which I can't pinpoint when, but it was the fact that I don't mind writing shitty songs. I don't mind not finishing a song. I don't mind being bad at writing one day. I don't mind any of the aspects of the writing. I am just thrilled that I have any interest and motivation to still do it.
Yeah.
And that changed because I no longer have to write for something. I write because I write. There is no reason to it. I don't have to write hit songs. They don't have to have any structure that belongs to this or that group or this band or that. None of it. Now it's colors, seasons, which studio are we going to work in? Are we on the West Coast? Are we in? All of this now becomes a theme. In the quarantine, it was another theme, meaning I started to write after several weeks of nothing, which is unusual for me, where I realized I need to write about having nothing to write about. For the first time in, I don't know, 35, 40 years, there is nothing I need to say that the world needs to hear. No one needs to hear what I'm thinking now. It's pointless what I'm thinking. And I got to write about it.
Yeah.
And that started the machine again. And then it has gradually gone into, Long Embrace is one song. I'm Dreaming, earthly things, like they're becoming very existential of what is the point of all this?
Yeah. But it's beautiful. That's beautiful. Really, the quarantine has put you in a position, all of us, I'm sure, to realize that what were we doing out chasing our tails, running around? Obviously, they don't necessarily need us to survive. We need it more maybe than they do. And all of a sudden you're writing from, well, I just enjoy this. I don't have to do this. I'm doing it because I like it.
Yeah, and I say that in my workshops or when I do these writing camps or something, that you have to do self-inquiry. You have to really examine who you are if you want to follow my, I don't want to call it school of writing, but my methods are clearly about knowing yourself, because you have to have a deep relationship with who you are. Because the reason why we are on this planet, and I can say this fairly objectively, is only to be yourself. It is the only purpose you have. So if you are trying to sound like Rolling Stones, then you're wasting a lot of time.
Yeah.
And you have a very finite amount of time. You come into this, existence with an exact amount of energy. You can burn it all in 27 years or over 90, but you only have so much energy. That's very important to understand. So what are you going to do with it? Emulate other people until the energy has been spent? Or are you going to be yourself? And that may mean that you are not moving forward in your career or in your craft for 40 years because you are studying yourself and your environment. But once you do present your stuff, I have a strong suspicion it'll be unbelievable.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's fantastic. So I would, usually get to this point and ask, what would you tell a songwriter that's starting? And I think you just did. I mean, ultimately, we all start to, copy. I think if I've never written a song and you're going to write a song, you may have to start with like a 3-chord, maybe some blues or a country thing with a very simple melody or simple lines that are repetitive. But ultimately, the goal is to, as soon as possible, just try to write something that you're comfortable with. Is that what you would say? Something that's just be yourself as soon as you can.
I don't know if it's as soon as you can. It's kind of correct, but what I'm saying is you may not be good at melodies, and you may never be, then that's not what you're going to keep trying to do. You may not be good with lyrics, then don't waste your time to constantly try. Oh, I got to work on what I'm not good at. Maybe not. I'll give you a quote that also 20 years ago really helped me. There's two of my favorites and the great masters of modern music is Coltrane and Miles Davis. Miles says in an interview that I read once, all these new beboppers, this is from the late 50s, early 60s, I can't keep up with these guys. They're just a whole different stratosphere from me. But I can write a melody all day long. So I slowed it all down and just stuck with my beautiful melodies. So he figured out what he doesn't do, and then he does what he's good at. Coltrane says, I can't write a melody to save my life, but I know every note inside and out, sideways, within every chord.
Yeah.
So I play those. And they're just explaining in those answers. I never forget it. And I went, well, that's what I got to do. Who am I? And go there.
That's
great. Now that may mean, like you said, I love riffs. So you're a riff guy. You write a lot of riffs and you base it on AC/DC, or you might be a simple, slightly Southwestern Willie Nelson vibe to you, Southwest Texas. Then you live in that world, but you don't have to be Willie Nelson. Willie already did that. So you got to figure out, that's what I do well, but I live in Cincinnati. Well, great. Have that with lyrics about living in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Like you gotta mold this thing into what's real for you, but don't be afraid. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. None of us are. I don't think anyways.
That's perfect, Anders. Thank you so much. That's just a great place to leave it. Very inspirational. I'm sure it's hard to realize maybe if you've just never written a song before.
Yeah.
It's hard to get back to that, but you do, because it's all the same thing, whether it's the first song or the last song.
Yeah. It's
the same song. Yeah.
You're so correct. Well, hello, Nico.
Hello.
That's my little chihuahua. You heard somebody at the door. Yeah, don't be afraid of the creative process. If you haven't written before, find a handful, like 5 songs that they floor you, and study their craftsmanship. And what is it that gets you? Which line gets you? Is it the and, if, but, and maybes, the little small, like how have they connected the things? Do they always rhyme? Is it 1, 2, 3 and then a loose rhyme? Like study it like a scientist and get that feeling sort of with your left brain, your logic, and then try to apply a couple of those techniques and see if it starts stirring something in your heart. And I'm sure you'll find at least a verse that you're happy with.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you so much, Anders. I appreciate your time. I love you to death.
I love you too, Mike, very much.
Anybody's interested in your music, they can go to your website, right? They can buy some merch straight from you, some albums.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah, it should be there on andersosborne.com. You can go to the Facebooks, Instagrams, and I don't know what else I have. I'll sign up to a bunch of that stuff.
I'm sure they will. Hey, thanks for taking time today. I love you, buddy.
I love you too, Mike. Thanks for asking me.
Well, there you have it, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in to the 2020 Galaxywide Songwriters Workshop. We sure hope that you enjoyed this as much as we did. Thank you so much to my friend Terry Ariano. Thank you to the ASCAP Education Fund and to the Bart Howard Foundation. And thank you. It's been really quite a learning experience. It's been a joy. I brought the big guns out back here. This is my son, Zach. He's going to join me, folks. Thank you. All right, here we go. Well, fly me to the moon and let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, hold my hand. Yes, in other words, baby, kiss me. Fill my heart with song and let me sing forevermore. You are all I long for, all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. Here's another word. I love you. Oh, fill my heart with song. Let me sing forevermore. You are all I long for, all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. Yeah. Oh, in other words, I love you. I was almost in tune. Thank you all so much.